So welcome. Thank you for taking the time from your day-to-day lives to be here with us today. Our webinar is about application and scholarships, do's and don'ts. And I will not present it alone. I have Leslie and Inka that will join me today. And some of you might have been in contact with us already, but to make sure we make everything clear, we will start with a round of introductions. My name is Alina, and I'm originally from Romania, and I have been living in the Netherlands for 6 years now, and it has been a wonderful experience up to now. And I'm the recruitment officer for the Master in Management. And I would like to invite also Leslie to quickly introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see all of, to see that so many have joined. My name is Leslie. I am one of the admission officers at MSM. We are a team of 2, my colleague Steph. Maybe some of you, I think I saw some names that I've been in contact with already, or maybe you've been in contact with Steph. I've been with MSM for a year now, and looking forward to explaining you a bit more about the whole application process.
Thank you, Leslie. And now Inka.
Thank you, Alina. Hi, everyone. My name is Inka. It's nice to meet you. Probably we have also been in touch before. I'm from Germany. Actually, I'm also a recruitment officer, and I work very closely with Alina and Leslie. So you see MSM is a really small school, and I'm happy to answer all your questions today in the chat and the Q&A afterwards.
Great. Thank you so much, Inka. Then we can move on to the agenda. Mainly, we will start with general information about MSM and the programs, and then we will let you know what we are looking in a candidate, so what skills you need to have to get admitted at MSM as an MBA or an MM candidate. And then we will talk about the main topic of the day, actually, the do's and don'ts of the admissions procedure. And Leslie will, will tell you more about it. And as Inka mentioned, the Q&A will be handled by her. And please make sure to add all your questions in the Q&A chat and not the normal chat. That can be a bit confusing, but it's quite easy for us to handle the Q&A chat. All right, we can start with a bit of general information. When it comes to MSM at a glance, it's one of the oldest schools in the Netherlands. It was founded in 1952. Actually, last year we celebrated our 70-year anniversary. Now it's part of the School of Business and Economics at Maastricht University. And we are offering MBA programs, Master in Management and Executive Education. MSM is internationally recognized. I will talk a bit more about rankings in my next slide. It has 90+ nationalities now since 2018. And it has a free border location, which is quite unique, a practical learning approach, and the sustainability mindset. Also, when it comes to studying at MSM, one of the best things is networking. So it has a global network of alumni and companies they are working with. And also, all in all, a personalized learning experience. The full-time MBA also has expertise tracks, but that I will also tell you a bit more about. And you have the opportunity to also have company visits due to the unique location in Belgium and Germany and the Netherlands. When it comes to rankings, since 2022, MSM has merged with Maastricht University. Thus, now it has a Triple Crown accreditation, which means that 1% of business schools around the world can actually say they hold this title. And also the full-time MBA has Tier 1 business school in the CEO magazine of 2022. I was mentioning now the merge between MSM and Maastricht University. It's great news for the students when it comes to accreditation. So we talked about the Triple Crown, but also when it comes to the campus and facilities at MSM. In the past, we did have our own campus, our own facilities, and so on, but now we moved in a lovely campus. And of course, you have access to all the networking events of Maastricht University, but also for facilities like language center, library, study rooms, and sports center. We were mentioning before, we are indeed based in the Netherlands, and I'm not sure how much you know about the Netherlands. I will just quickly go through the main points. The location of the Netherlands is quite nice because you are in the heart of Europe, literally, so you can also visit other countries around. The Netherlands is quite international, well, actually very international, and 90% of Dutch nationals speak English. So you will have no issues when it comes to, finding your way around or even finding a job in the Netherlands. When it comes to the education system, is internationally recognized. It has unique teaching methods, and it's considered one of the best educational systems in the world. The Dutch culture is quite innovative, entrepreneurial, and direct. So this is what I experienced when I first moved to the Netherlands, and it also has this open-mindedness, and so all nationals are accepted in the Netherlands, and they are very friendly and nice and tolerant. When you come to study in the Netherlands, one thing that you need to know is that the moment you graduate from the program, you will have an orientation year permit to stay in the Netherlands and find a job here. So that is something that the Dutch government actually provides. And recently, there have been the rankings of the happiest nations in the world have been released, and we are on number 5 spot in the world when it comes to life-work balance and quality of life. And when it comes to where you will study, so we talked about the Netherlands, and of course, if you think about the Netherlands, you think about Amsterdam or Rotterdam. But Maastricht is in the south of the Netherlands, so it's actually here, and it's actually the only place in the Netherlands that has hills, and the nature is really nice. And when it comes to learning in Maastricht, it's also very international. You can bike everywhere. It feels safe, and I know a lot of you actually look for that. So you want to feel okay when you walk at night in the city. It has a lot of historical buildings, but with a modern twist. And that you will also see in the campus of Maastricht University. We are also placed in the historical building, but everything is quite modern. There are many shops and restaurants and entertainment places, and it's small enough to feel cozy and big enough to feel like a city and to not get bored. And of course, it's quite magical around Christmas as well. So that is something that you will experience once you come here. Moving on, I will tell you a bit more about the program. So we have the Master in Management and the Master of Business Administration. And a lot of you also submitted an application at the moment to one of these programs. If you haven't, we are very happy to give you more information even after this call, this webinar. The differences between the Master in Management and the MBA are quite small. Basically, the curriculum is very similar, but it's taught differently, and the programs are catering to a different audience. So the Master in Management is perfect for freshly graduate with up to 3 years of work experience, even with 0 work experience, that hold a bachelor program. And then when it comes to the MBA, you need to have minimum 3 years of work experience when you apply for this program. And another difference between the two programs is that the MBA also has an expertise track. When it comes to the classrooms, you can expect between 20 and even up to 45 students in the classroom, depending on if it's MM or MBA. And we have people from all over the world. And so we also have European students, but mostly from Asia, Africa, Latin America, and so on. And something that is really nice to remember is that we accept students with different backgrounds. We actually believe that is one of the reasons the students learn so well at MSM, because they come from different backgrounds and they tend to share that experience. So even if you are from engineering or marketing, consulting, finance, you can apply for MSM. When it comes to the tuition fees, the MBA program is 28,500 and the Master in Management is 16,000. And we do have scholarships available, and Leslie will tell you more about that a bit later. I was actually talking about the MBA. This is one of the differences. You will be able to take an expertise track and select it. And the moment you choose your MBA program and apply for it. When it comes to teaching philosophy, we believe that we have a very practical and hands-on method of teaching. It's case-based learning, and we want you, the moment you go into the work field after you graduate, to actually apply what you studied during the MBA or the Master in Management. And this is why we are organizing a lot of events and company visits and different lectures and simulation games. The classroom, I talked a bit about this. You can expect for the full-time MBA up to 35, even 45 students in the classroom, and you can expect 20 different nationalities. When it comes to the Master in Management, it's up to 30 students in the classroom and 15 nationality. Actually, in 2022, we had 90 nationalities. So then, you know, it really depends year per year. And something very special about both the Master in Management and the full-time MBA is that you will benefit of a career and personal development track. This means that we have a team that will coach you when it comes to soft skills and workshops and the CV assessment and mock interviews and things like that. Basically, we want to prepare you for the Dutch market and to so you can be a competitive candidate and to find a job in the Netherlands as fast as possible. And speaking about personal development and the programs, I will tell you a bit more about what we are looking for when a student applies for an MBA or an MM program. Basically, we are looking for quite hardworking people, and of course, you know, that is something that all employers also are looking for. And this is mainly because the classes are quite intense. So when you think about a one-year program, you will have classes from 9 to 5, and then group sessions and events and so on. We want people that can keep up with the program and get the best out of the program and have the best experience they can have. Then we are looking at the motivation. So Leslie will also tell you a bit more about how important the motivation letter is for us. And it's very important that before applying to MSM, you assess if the program will help you or in your career or not. Yeah, so this is something we are also looking when we read your motivation letter and we have the interview rounds and so on. But more on that later. We are looking for uniqueness. Basically, it refers to the fact that we want to get to know you as you are, right? You don't have to put on a show when you talk to us. You have to be prepared, and you have to show us who you are, what are your hobbies, what you like to do, what you studied, why you studied what you studied, and things like that. So we are looking at that unique element that is missing from our classrooms. And another thing that we are looking for is people that are all-rounders, basically people that can adapt to working in a group, but also working independently, that are well-balanced as well. So then when it comes to self-regulation and time management and so on, you can manage your workload, but you can also manage yourself, and you proactively do things that show that. And of course, openness to experience. Probably that's not a problem if you are all here today, but there will be so much novelty when it comes to the experience at MSM. You will basically have to create new neurons in your brain and new habits, and everything will be new, starting with the location, but also with the people you will interact with, and the cultural sensitivity, and all the different events and experiences that you will have. So it's very important that you are motivated and you want that unique experience in the Netherlands. And of course, we are looking for people that want to make a difference in the world. So basically, if you your dream is to work on Wall Street and have a Ferrari, well, you can still have that, but mainly we are looking for people that want to look at the world from a sustainability point of view, and that want to become leaders in their fields and make a difference in the industry that they go in and with the people they interact with. And now, the most important part of the webinar, I would like to invite Leslie to tell you a bit more about the admissions and the scholarships and the do's and don'ts when it comes to your application. Leslie, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, Alina. Oh, but I don't think this is the most important. I think everything you mentioned is equally as important. So I can't seem to go to the, yeah, got it. Oh, sorry. All right, so application deadlines, I think best place to start, right? So we talked about the Master in Management and the full-time MBA, and there will also be a Global Flex Online MBA. So the application deadlines for both the Master in Management and the full-time MBA are mid-July. That's for non-EU. And then you see a different date for EU students, 25th of August. And the big difference is the visa that we have to apply for non-EU. The visa process can take up to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. That's why that date difference is there. So we're all set to start on 25th of September. Right, apologies. I seem to have a little bit of a difficulty with going to the next slide, but I got it. Now, the timeline of your application, what happens then? So you have submitted your application, and we at the admission office receive this. We do a full review of your application. Part of that is checking your degree, your resume, your motivation letter, the English requirements, if it meets all of that. That takes about a week. Then it goes on to the next step, where you have an interview. This is scheduled. You receive an email to put forward some times and dates. And we schedule this in with 2 people to interview you. Once that is done, that information comes back to me or the staff to the admission office, and we put it forward to the Board of Admissions, and they make the final review. Then you receive your admission or your rejection. So this takes about 3 weeks. Now, some do's and don'ts, which you saw in the webinar, is the subject. So for the timeline of your application, please do research your application. Research what is needed, what will we ask for, which documents, and also do look at the scholarship deadlines and submit them on time. Don't submit too late or be clueless about the deadlines. It would be such a shame if someone would not receive something or you are too late just simply by not checking what the deadline was to apply. Then we go into the orientation phase. So you're orienting, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What's important for me? What's, what university offers this or what does that? We always certainly say, talk to current students or alumni or our recruiters. So one of them is Alina, the other is Inka. When compiling all these questions, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Try to formulate it all in one email, because as you will see in the don't part, don't send 7 emails, all with a different question. We have this sometimes, but it will make it easier for you and for us to have everything in one complete email. Also, something that we would like to point out is this is your first impression sometimes. So be polite. Use the way we use email by starting with a dear and a name if you have a name, and to end an email with kind regards or looking forward to a reply. Now, for some of you, you may say, of course, that's how I interact. We've had many situations where people don't know. Then also do research the scholarship options as well at MSM, but we offer, but also in your country. Maybe there are education loans or anything. Attend the webinars, masterclasses, or events that we provide. So great, all of you are here. And also connect through social media. Follow us, see what we're sharing, just to orient, in your orientation phase, and you can see what's going on. Then some of the don'ts. Don't apply without knowing anything about MSM or the program. Look it up and really find that what is important to you, what you find on MSM, and use that. And then the other 2 don'ts, I just shared what I said with the do's. So moving on from the orientation phase into your application phase. So when you're ready, you've oriented yourself, I'm going to do this. Go to our website, and there you're going to complete your application with the following documents: your CV, your previous bachelor degree, plus your transcript, your proof of English, a passport. Might be, if there's anything going on with any of these documents, like your passport expired, then do share when you will receive your new one, or if you're applying for a new one. You will need to also submit professional or academic recommendations. So for the MBA program, we require 2 professional recommendations. And for the MM, the Master in Management, we require 1 recommendation, and it can be either academic or professional. Then we also require a personalized motivation letter. There's also on our website, when you're at this step of uploading your application, you will see a instruction manual that you can use when writing your motivation letter. I highly recommend to read this through and check. Maybe you've already finished your motivation letter. See if it meets all the requirements that we have. Or if you're still in the midst of writing it, use it to build up your motivation letter. Then another of our requirements is a GMAT or GRE result. Or we provide the MSM leveling courses. So when you have taken a GMAT or you have scheduled one, you might be in the midst of your application process and you have your GMAT scheduled, then do let us know, because your GMAT could provide a basis where you don't need to take the leveling courses. If you're not taking a GMAT or you haven't taken one, that's also fine. We accept your application, and then we offer the leveling courses. And the leveling courses build a foundation and make sure that everyone starts with the same basic knowledge when they start the program. Your scholarship application is also part of your application. So when you're submitting your application, be aware of which scholarships you want to apply for. And in this phase, you can tick the boxes of the scholarships you want to apply for. Make sure that you add the right documents when needed. Some scholarships will require an essay, other scholarships a video, and you upload this also at this point in your application. Then you pay the application fee of 95 euros and you can press submit your application and you're done. Then it goes into the process and it will end up either in my inbox or Steph's inbox. Oh, thank you, Alina. The application phase. So in this phase, we have some do's and don'ts. Please do respect the deadlines. I know I mentioned it before in another one, but keep in mind those 3 weeks of processing time, especially when you want to apply for a scholarship, which has a deadline. You need those 3 weeks to go through the whole application process. Submit all the required documents, make sure that everything's in there, and also check if your English spelling and grammar is correct. Have someone else read it, check it. Now, don't apply too late. Also, what I mentioned earlier, it would be such a shame if it was just due to a deadline that you will not get in or you will not get a scholarship. Don't forget important documents. For example, like I mentioned before, the passport is expired. Do let us know, send an email. And apply with documents. Don't apply with documents for other schools. We've seen it many times. A motivation letter is uploaded and there is another school mentioned. Of course, you know, everyone's applying to, well, not everyone, but many people apply to different schools. You want to spread your options, but do make sure that the application that you're working on is for the school that you're actually sending it to. Another part of your application phase is your CV, your resume. Do reflect the requirements. You know, take into account you're applying for the MBA or the MM. That is well pointed out in your CV. Include your academic experience, your work experience, activities, skills, but do keep it clean. You know, if there's some of these skills or activities you want to elaborate on, maybe use your motivation letter for it, or keep it concise when doing it in your resume. And also here, please do check for spelling and grammar. Now, what we think you really shouldn't do is don't make it messy or be too concise. I know I just mentioned be concise in certain things. So don't elaborate too much, but don't be too concise either. Be somewhere in between. And usually when you do that, your CV will not be longer than 1 or 2 pages. Because one of our don'ts is submit a 5-page long CV. which we also get quite a few times. And there's too much on there. So minimize it to 1 to 2 pages. Now, your motivation letter. As I mentioned before, mention the correct school and the program. You know, it's a basic first step you would do in your motivation letter, of course. Follow our guidelines. As I said, on our website, you will find an instruction manual where you can see the requirements and the guidelines that we expect from a motivation letter for one of our programs. Then also be specific. Why are you choosing MSM? Why Maastricht and the Netherlands? Try and not make it too general. Like you could just pluck up another name of another school and put it in there, and it could be any other business school. Be original. Try to put something in there that is you. We read many motivation letters on a daily basis. And as soon as someone has put that a bit more originality into it, or a bit more of their personality, they jump out, those motivation letters. Elaborate. But again, there's a fine line between too much elaboration and being too concise. Try to find that middle. And also, again, check your spelling and grammar. The motivation letter is read by the admission team, but also by the admission board. It's also one of those moments where you make a first impression. For the motivation letter, please don't use a general template from the internet. We've seen them. We know them. Another one is don't mention, I have no weaknesses. We put this in there because one of our requirements in our guideline is to put in your strengths and your weaknesses. You could say weaknesses or development points, either way. And maybe you could even write how the program might improve one of these. Another big don't is plagiarism. I think that speaks for itself. Then we move on to still the application phase, but the interview. So once the interview is scheduled, please do be prepared. Prepare yourself. You can look it up online, look up any examples of interviews with a university. So prepare yourself in that way, but also look on the website, know what you're getting into, read your motivation letter again, know what you've written down, why are you applying for the school. Be on time, makes also a good impression. And maybe your first impression to that particular faculty member or administrative member who's part of the interview. Also, make sure you have a quiet room and you're wearing appropriate clothes. A stable internet connection is also very important. We've had cases where it breaks up and it just, it makes the interview, it's not a good start. You'll have to reschedule. So check, if you know wherever you are, the internet connection is not that good, check out with a friend and do a Zoom call with someone else before you have your interview. And then I think most importantly, be yourself. We want to see your personality. This interview is there to get to know you a bit better and to see if you're a good fit for MSM and if MSM is a good fit for you. Now, some don'ts for the interview is to be late and to be unprepared. The two things that will immediately show. All right, so scholarships. Usually we get a lot of questions about scholarships. We have several that you can apply for. I'm just going to go through them for a little bit. I'm not going to go too in depth. The next slide is also a bit more about the scholarships. So all of the scholarships combined, because you can of course apply for several, you don't have to limit yourself to one. It can amount up to 40% of your tuition fee. So that will sometimes mean you have applied for a scholarship for several ones, and maybe you received 2 and you already know the outcome and you're waiting on a 3rd one, but in tuition fee, you've already reached that max of the 40%. Then the other scholarships, or partially of those scholarships, will be more of an honor to receive, and of course, great on your resume, but not that much more in tuition fee. I'm just pointing it out to make it clear for everyone. So we have the early bird discount, the Dean Development Fund, European Fund, the Academic Excellence Scholarship, which of course is based on how you have been doing in your previous education, the Women Ambassador Scholarship, the SDG Changemaker, and the Entrepreneurship Family Business Scholarship. Now, all of these scholarships will have different additions needed, for example, an essay or a video, or just more documents, for example, the family business, or if you have your own business, we will need some documentation that you have this. All of the requirements can be found on our website. Now we have 2 exceptions. One is the Orange Tulip Scholarship, which would give you up to 60% off your tuition fee. And this scholarship can be applied for people from India or from Indonesia. Those 2 countries are the only 2 in this year. And then we also have the Orange Knowledge Program, which is a full scholarship. It's the only full scholarship that we offer. Well, not we, it's done by the government. It goes through us. And today was the applications deadline. So we mention it now, but it's not a scholarship you could apply for anymore for this intake. All right, so I'll go to the next slide where we have the scholarships with a bit more information. So the early bird discount, in the tabs next to it, you can see the deadline and the additional requirements. So the early bird discount, 3 weeks before the early bird discount deadline. And this will be given if payment is done before this date. Then we have the SDG Changemaker Scholarship. It doesn't have a deadline. It keeps on going, and you will be required to send in an essay, which you can upload when you're doing your application submittance. Then the Women Ambassador Scholarship needs to be sent over to us before May 15th. And what is needed is an essay. The Academic Excellence Scholarship is also before the 15th of May, and that will be based on your transcripts and resume potentially. And then the Orange Tulip Scholarship, we have a 2nd round, and it needs to be submitted before June 1st. This scholarship requires a video, a 1-minute video. And all of these requirements, if it's an essay or a video, try to be original. Don't just read out your resume or make a sum up of it, but tell us something about you, or why this is important to you, or why this scholarship should go to you. So some do's and don'ts about the scholarship. Do your research, look it up, look into it, see what would be applicable to you. You will find all the information on our website. You go to the program you're applying for or want to apply for, and you choose the box scholarships, and you will see a full list of what's needed and the deadlines. As I mentioned before, apply on time, because it would be such a shame if you miss a scholarship only due to not handing it in time. Complete the extra requirements, make sure that everything's sent over or uploaded. And by send over, I mean, if later on you have already applied, you've submitted, and you decide, oh, I don't want to apply for the scholarship and I can make the deadline, then you just email the admissions office and we can go into your application and add it on. And then be specific. Why do you deserve this specific scholarship? Let us know in your essay or in your video. Please don't use a general template from the internet, or miss the deadlines, or be uninformed. It's a bit of the same don'ts as we had also in the application phase. So why should you apply soon? To secure your spot in class, we like to keep the class size around 35 students, and lots of people are submitting at the moment. So if you're sure this is the university for you, this is the program for you, start with your application. Housing can be challenging if you start looking for it too late. So if you've maybe already submitted your application and we're right in that process of getting all of that sorted, start looking around. It's never too early to start looking for housing. The sooner you apply, the sooner we can help you with the student visa. Now, we don't apply earlier than mid-June, July, because your visa will need to be valid for a full year for your studies. But as soon as you apply, we can start the process and giving you all the information of what we require. And then some scholarships have a deadline. So if you want to be going for one of those, do make sure to send your application on time. And let's see, I think, no, that was everything for the application process. And while I was talking, I've been seeing quite some questions coming in. So probably we'll move on to that. But back to you, Alina.
Yes, thank you so much, Leslie, for all the information. I hope it was helpful. And if you still have questions, even after the Q&A, just let us know. We are here to support you in any way. And now I will invite Inka. She will. She has been handling the chat. There were so many questions now.
Yeah, many questions. Thank you, everyone, for being so active. But I think a lot of the questions were already answered during the webinar, but I wrote down a couple of questions that were most common. First of all, what would you say, Alina or Leslie, how important is it to speak Dutch?
I don't think you want to take this one, Alina, or shall I?
No, you can go, Leslie. Okay.
To speak Dutch for the program, it's not needed. The program is fully in English. Your classmates will all be talking English. But of course, for your experience in the Netherlands, it would make a difference. Although I must say, everyone here in the Netherlands speaks very good English, and they will very quickly switch to English once they've heard you don't speak the language. But I do think it's a bonus if you would look into it or do a Duolingo or something like that.
Yeah, when it comes to your career after you graduate, and then it's nice when you apply for a job and then you have Dutch on your resume, even if it's beginner or intermediate. But it's very good when employers like to see that, of course. But it's a hard language, so might as well start before you come to the Netherlands. And of course, you have a lot of tools like Duolingo and a lot of other websites available.
Thank you so much, Alina. Then we have another question from Preeti regarding the GMAT. Could maybe, Leslie, you explain one more time, how does it work with the GMAT and the foundation courses at MSM?
Yes, so if you have a GMAT score, which is higher than 600, or 600 or higher, you are exempted from the leveling courses. Now, if you don't have a GMAT, you will need to complete our foundation courses, our leveling courses, which will be sent over to you and need to be completed before the start of the program. You get sufficient time, and it will be around 2 weeks to complete these courses. And these courses make sure that all students start with the same basic knowledge to start an MM or an MBA program.
Okay, thank you so much. Leslie, another question for you, because it's mainly for admissions. How long does the visa process take?
The visa process takes between 6 to 8 weeks. Mostly it's 6 weeks, but sometimes another document is needed or something is going on there. that is why we start on time, so that everyone will be here September 25th and always a bit before to settle in and then start your program.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Alina, what are the English requirements? This was quite a common question for MBA and MM.
Well, technically, you need to have English test available if you didn't previously study in English. If you did study in English, you are exempt. But of course, during an interview, the admissions council might ask you to take an additional test, so that can also happen. But if you didn't previously study in English, then you will need to take a language test.
Thank you, Alina. What are the scholarships requirements? I know it's pretty vague, and maybe otherwise you can go back to the slide, Leslie. I don't know if it's possible just to show it one more time.
I'll go back to, hold on.
I can also do it 1 second.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why. I should have.
It's, 1 second. Oh, we went very bad.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. We can just quickly show the slide in case you want to remember what we discussed today. Okay, and this one.
All right, so the requirements for the scholarships, there's different ones. Early bird discount, the requirement is to have the payment done before May 1st. The SDG Changemaker Scholarship requires an essay. The Women Ambassador Scholarship also requires an essay. And the Academic Excellence Scholarship will be determined on your degree, grades, motivation letter, or resume, mostly on your transcript. And then the Orange Tulip Scholarship is, the requirement is a 1-minute video. I think, does that cover it, the requirement?
I think that would cover it. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Leslie. But also I got so many questions, and yes, there will be a recording. So just give us a day or two after the webinar. We'll be sharing also the recording of today's webinar with you. Alina, could you highlight maybe how MSM helps the students and graduates to find a job?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Well, it actually starts with when you start the year, then you will do a lot of networking. So networking is very important, especially when you want to pursue a career in the Netherlands and in business. Then so you will have a lot of interactions with companies. So company visits, and we have corporate week coming up, and a lot of situations where you can you can promote yourself and create connection that will assure a future job. Besides networking, we have the career and personal development track. This means that MSM will train you in how to become a strong candidate in the Dutch market. And that means that we will look at your CV, we will make sure to restructure your CV and have mock interviews. And at the end of the year, we will create this CV book. And so it's basically a book with all the CVs from all the students, and we will send it to companies. And then if they have availability, they will contact you. But of course, it's also your responsibility to make sure you contact those companies. Also, if you have a job pending, so you are in an interview process, then you can always come to us and our advisors to help you prepare specifically for that interview. And then again, rehearse interview questions, and also customize your CV and motivation letter according to the job that you are applying for. So all that guidance, all that training, and of course during your studies, you will also learn how to promote yourself. So that will also help in finding a job. And now we are working on a report when it comes to career services. So we will share some statistics in the future with you, but it normally takes around 3 months for you to find a job after graduation. And some students find a job even while studying for when they will finish studying. So it really depends case by case, but the success rate is very high.
Thank you, Alina. Leslie, what is the deadline again for the Academic Excellence Scholarship?
May 15th.
Okay, and that's because Singara, you asked about the GMAT. So if you want to do the Academic Excellence and you have a score of 650, then it's indeed May 15. Thank you. Leslie, OTS, what is the application procedure?
Application procedure. It's also part when you submit your application, you have the option to choose your scholarship. There you choose OTS and it will pop down the items that are the requirements. So for the OTS, the requirement is a video, which you can upload in your application process. Now, for whatever reason, you didn't tick the box for OTS, no problem. Well, if it's before June 1st, of course. And you send us an email and you let us know, I would still like to apply. I'm from India or Indonesia, which is very important. And we will add it in your application and you send us your video and we will upload it also.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Another question for, what is the age limit for OTS?
I don't believe there's an age limit. I've not seen it before. Also, we don't have an age limit, especially not for our MBA.
Okay.
So no, I don't think there would be one.
Thank you, Leslie. And Alina, there's one more question for you. What are the accommodation options at MSM?
Accommodation is quite a big topic at the moment in the Netherlands. So that was one of the reasons why you should apply soon, so you have time to find accommodation. The option that we will share them with you the moment you are admitted. Just a quick note is that you will be the one that will handle the accommodation on your own, so to contact the venues and to sign the contracts and things like that. But we will send you a list of accommodations in Maastricht where you can apply, and you can also do your own research. And our advice is to apply and look for accommodation right away. The moment you are an applicant, you can already start looking at least to see what you can afford and what are the options for you.
Thank you, Alina. Could one of you go back to the first slide, which shares the email addresses from us?
Yes.
Just so that if one of the candidates today in the audience has some questions, you always can save our email address. The early bird deadline. So how does the early bird scholarship works, Leslie, and what is the amount that is discounted?
So the early bird discount is when you have paid your tuition fee before May 1st. And for MBA, full-time MBA, it is a 2,000 euro discount. And for the Master in Management, it's 1,000 euro discount.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I thought I saw a question coming in from the OTS on where to find it in the application.
Yes.
So it should be when you're submitting your application, you have the option scholarships. So you need to, when you have the financial part, you need to choose the option partly able to finance or applying for scholarships or NAFIC. When you choose the option, what's it again? Something with I will privately fund, then the options of scholarships will not pop up. So you do need to pick the right one that you're applying for a scholarship, and then it will immediately drop down. Ah, she got it. Great. She just typed.
Oh yeah, perfect. Good. I think those were a lot of questions, but I did share our email addresses. So for some last minute questions, we are also available afterwards. Okay, I think we're good for the questions.
Great. Okay, then that is a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining today. We had so many participants, and again, it's really great that you allocated some time for this. Yes, we will share the recording, as Inka mentioned as well. And if you still have any other questions, because sometimes maybe you don't get the question in the moment, but you get it the next day or later on, just email us. We can always book a call and let us know how we can help in the application process so it can be as smooth as possible. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.